I played 3 years of Division I baseball at North Carolina State University. Got drafted by the Cardinals and also spent some time with the San Diego Padres. I played for Columbia in the World Baseball Classic. So I've seen how coaches evaluate players. And I've also seen what makes coaches walk away from players. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain and I'm here to show you exactly how college coaches recruit high school baseball. What makes them take notes and also what makes them draw a line right through your son's name. You're gonna wanna stick around into the end because the last thing that these college coaches write in their notes, it is the most important. And before we dive in, if you or your son is serious about building out a recruiting strategy that gets him seen and has a real shot for college baseball, click the link down below in the description to learn a little bit more about my program, the Triple Play. All right, let's start off with the basics. First impressions, right? First impressions matter more than anything, guys. And this is something that can be included in the highlight video. This can be included into how you present yourself in the email. This can be your body language. It's ultimately that first impression goes a long way, and we only get one, right? We only get one first impression. I think we can all agree. If you mess up that first impression, it's going to take some time to overcome and build on top of that bad first impression that we already laid out. And coaches will have already made up their mind before your son even swings a bat. They watch your son as he gets out of the car. They watch your son as he's warming up, how he's interacting with some of the other, teammates or other players at a specific showcase or camp. Does your son even look locked in, or is he kind of checked out? Does he want to be somewhere else? Does he want to be on his phone? Is he on his phone? I've seen that every once in a while at a tournament or a showcase, and that's not the right way to go about it because ultimately you're not engaged in what's actually in front of you. There's also some bad signs in that first impression, like slouching, bad body language, maybe that distraction like we mentioned, or maybe just a bad attitude. There's also some of those good signs like having good energy, having that laser focus, and just playing because you enjoy the game of baseball, that joy, that pride, that love of the game, that passion, it's seen by these college coaches. And without a doubt, college coaches will look at body language just as much as your batting average or your metrics, right? People don't even understand like the body language and how much of an impact it really makes in this whole journey, because college coaches, they might see a player once and then they might see him again and they might see him again, but ultimately we need to be taking care of this body language. This should be the consistent, what I like to say is how like there's weather outside and one day it might be raining, one day it might be hot, one day it might be cold. We never want to be like the weather. If possible, especially our body language, this is where we need to, like I said, the weather is going to be going up and down like that, right? We need to make sure we are the thermostat, which is basically as consistent as possible at 71 degrees, right? So we don't want to be going up and down because that's going to show a lack of consistency, and ultimately that's going to show that these college coaches can't trust how you're presenting yourself because there's just that level of waviness. All right, let's talk about number 2, evaluation. So this is probably one of the most important, so make sure that you take a notepad out, maybe write some notes alongside with me, because this is going to be where we're going over some of these key metrics, not stats, on how these college coaches evaluate your player. So first and foremost, what are stats? Stats are like average, ERA, how many strikeouts did he have in a season? That's a funny one. Maybe his on-base percentage in freshman year high school, like that matters. No, those are some stats, right? Those don't matter a ton. As far as some metrics, this is going to be what we're talking about right here. It's going to be like your 60-yard dash time. That's going to be your maybe your home to first. Again, those are 2 ways of just showcasing how fast you run. It could be your arm velo. It could be your exit velocity. It could be your pop time. Arm velocity also can be whether you're a right-handed pitcher off the mound, or from like infield or outfield. So these are all different metrics. Metrics are undeniably just like the most efficient way of showcasing how your player is able to perform in baseball. For example, if your son's hitting 750 in high school, I can promise you nobody really cares, because first and foremost, who in the world is the bookkeeper and who in the world is your son playing? Because hitting 750, it's cool, but like, okay, is your son going to be able to hit 750 when he's facing 92 with movement or run each and every day? Probably not. So like, these are the things that like we're going to see that decrease. And like, yes, it's great to say that your son's hitting 750, but let's just move on with that conversation, because every day I hear so many parents brag about average. Or this is my favorite. My son, all of sophomore year of high school, only struck out once. Does that matter? Does that matter? So I want to know, like, okay, what was his exit velocity? Okay, his exit velocity is 62. Yeah, that needs some work. I don't care if he's only struck out once. I know his exit velocity needs to be higher than 61, 62 miles an hour as a sophomore in high school, because probably he's not physically there. Maybe he's able to put the ball in play. Maybe he's hitting 350. That's great, with a 720 on base percentage and only struck out once. I care about, like, okay, well, how hard is he throwing out there from the outfield? If he's a center fielder, if he's a true center fielder, he's athletic, he's throwing 59 miles an hour as a sophomore. That's a little bit more alarming than any of these bragging stats that parents love to take. So let's actually just go over it real quick. I'm gonna make a new sheet right here. Let's talk about some of these metrics that matter. So some metrics like 60, I'm gonna do the most common. Arm and exit velocity, because these matter a ton. I can do pop as well for catchers, not the most important thing. So 60-yard dash time, it really depends on a specific position that you're playing. So like outfielders, we would want, as far as D1 levels of these metrics, we would want probably like a 6.7 or less. That's a less than signal right there. So if you're at like a 6.5 as a center fielder, great. If you are an infielder, that's where it matters, not necessarily as much, but like a 6.9 and below, I'd say is doable. If you're a catcher or a first baseman or a bopper who plays third base, we would really want just like under probably like a 7. I ran a 7.4 in high school. That was my career best, was a 7.4. So it's not the most important. I was also, as a two-way player, I pitched and played the infield. As far as arm velocity, so this is where typically at a showcase, the correct order would be outfielders throw from right field, a couple to third base, a couple to home. You'll get your arm velocity there. So outfielders, if you're an outfielder, if I was a D1 coach, I would want to see probably like 93 plus miles an hour. Just because like that's a good tell. It's not the most important thing. So like this is where, again, it kind of has trade-offs. If you're an outfielder that throws 86, accurate throws, things like that, but your 60 time is a 6.2, those things kind of balance out, right? So it's not the most important thing to be 93 plus, but like if you're in the 90s, I would say like 90 is actually probably a more accurate number. That's going to be a good sign that these college coaches, like, hey, the high school athlete has figured out how his arm works by now, which is always good. If you're an infielder throwing across the diamond, I would say like 87 plus. And if you're a catcher, I'd say like honestly like 85 plus would be good. If you're a right-handed pitcher, I'd say you would probably want to be closer to like 91 plus. Again, D1 numbers. If you're a left-handed pitcher, surprisingly enough, you don't have to be throwing as hard. So I'd say like 87 plus. You can be very efficient at the D1 level, throwing 86, 85. Our Friday night guy, Brian Brown, he threw about 85, 86 miles an hour. He's also like 5'9", 150 pounds, and he was our ace, because he knew how to pitch. So always remember that. Next up, exit velocity. Exit velocity, I would say this is going to be off tee. We would want to see probably like 92 plus. Machine, we would want to see probably like 96 plus, because it's easier to hit higher exit velocities off the machine as the ball is coming in faster. Some places will get game exit velocity. If we're lucky, we'll be able to get like an exit velocity of probably like around the same as machine, so like 96 plus, right? Miles an hour, by the way. Last but not least, pop time for catchers. Catchers pop time. If I'm a D1, recruiting coordinator, I would probably want to see a 1.85 or less. That's probably like a good area to be in. Just because, like, again, pop time is not the most important thing. What is our, exit velocity here in relation to pop time if we're a catcher? If we're a catcher who runs like, and I've seen it before, like an 8.2, that's not good. Maybe he's a little bit bigger. Catchers are allowed to be a little bit bigger. Maybe he throws 85 on average. Exit velocity, though, he has like 104. Okay, wow, he's using that weight and he's translating that weight properly. and maybe his pop time's like a 1.9, this is gonna be the thing that really sells himself in the college recruiting process. So these are the metrics that mean a lot more, again, than my son hit 750 this past season with, again, guys, 1 strikeout, right? Those things don't matter. So let's stay away from things like that because they don't matter. Let's stick with what truly matters, the meat and the potatoes. All right, so number 3, let's talk about what turns coaches off, because there's definitely a long list of things that can turn these college coaches off, just like they can turn and get excited about these college coaches, or just like these high school baseball players. So some bad makeup. And for those that don't know, makeup is not what you put on your face, but like it's how you wear your jersey, it's your posture, it's how you're going about it, your attitude, how you deal with failure. Makeup is just like the thing that isn't a metric, but it also is important to like take into account how these coaches are actually evaluating your player. So again, this could be like pouting, which I've seen like after a strikeout. This could be, you know, the blaming teammates. This could be like rolling eyes. And for those that don't know, you don't necessarily have to be rolling your eyes. You can physically, with your body language, be like, oh my goodness. That is seen from college coaches when they're on the other side of the fence and evaluating players. You know, bad hustle, ignoring coaches. I'm happy you guys can read all this, by the way. I feel like I have way worse doctor handwriting when I'm actually speaking with you guys. You know, and honestly, just like, one of the very first turnoffs that you can really have is like, and this has nothing really to do with your performance, but like the relationship you have with parents, right? If you are disrespectful, or if like a mom or a dad's trying to give you a Gatorade and you're just like kind of shove them off and get away from me, like that is a huge turnoff to these college coaches, because like your parents are the ones that are investing time, effort, money into you developing to try becoming a big league baseball player. Like that's the area that we do not ever want to put ourselves in, is showing that lack of, you know, appreciation really to our parents. It's you know, an area that obviously is really important, that parents dynamic, because they have to be in our corner, and they're typically the only ones in our corner that really help us out to get where we want to go. All right, last but not least, section 4, let's talk about what stays in their notepad. All right, what ultimately makes them say we need to keep tabs on this player, right? What do we have to do to make them feel this way at the end of a showcase, at the end of a tournament, or at the end of a camp? And instead of complicating it with this metric and that metric, and he has to hit at least 1 line drive in a tournament, and like those things don't matter. It really, we're boiling it down to the simple stuff. Did he hustle? Check. No check, right? If there's a check right there, that's going to be good. Did he stay positive? Because that's going to showcase that mentality. Check. All right, we're on a good track. Body language, right? Does he have a good body language when he's dealing with failure, or when he's out there on defense, or does it look like he's distracted? Again, that body language can tell a lot. Okay, we're on a good track again. We're having that good positive body language. We have that positive mentality with our teammates. We're appreciating our parents. We're showcasing that good hustle. All right, what else? And speaking from experience, sometimes it just takes one wow moment. That is it. One wow moment. Check. That one wow moment could be, oh wow, I didn't expect him to run that fast in, let's just say, the 60. Or, again, or, it's not an and, it could be, or, I didn't expect him to throw 93 as a catcher. That's pretty hard, and let's be honest, that is very hard. Or from the outfield, wow, I didn't expect him to be throwing 98 miles an hour from the outfield, which can happen. There are some players that throw like over 100. Or like maybe exit velocity. It's just that one line drive where you hit it 103 off the bat, or you hit it 98 and you hustled down the line, even though you hit it right to the shortstop and it was an easy routine ground ball for the shortstop. You still hustled. It was just that one, again, wow moment. And did we have that one wow moment at that camp or that showcase? Yes. Okay, now we're building that momentum of the type of player that we can present to these universities, and that's ultimately what they are wanting and desiring out of players. What these college coaches will ultimately do, again, is what do we need to do to keep tabs of this player? How many times more do we need to see them, or have I seen enough? And typically, they have never seen enough until they feel comfortable on what you do and how you produce, because that performance is #1 priority. And college coaches will be looking at player 1 versus player 2. Side by side, right? There's a mirror. Which one looks better? Is it player one or player two? So this is why evaluation events are so important, because they can see a lot of talent at a very short period of time. Sometimes it's a day event. So like, be aware you have to be on your toes. You can't be on your heels at all, because you want to produce the best results. And it really comes down to who is standing out. Who is standing out of the event? Who is showcasing that one wow moment? Maybe he has good body language. He's positive with everyone around him. He's showcasing that good hustle. And again, maybe his 60 time was just, wow, he ran a 6.3. Like that's blazing. He's an athlete. Let's figure out where we could put him into our depth chart where it makes sense. But let's just start understanding what else can he do. Does he have a terrible arm strength? Well, maybe that would cross him off, because like he's running really fast, but he's throwing like 55 miles an hour as a junior. Like, yeah, he's probably not up to par, right? That's just an example. But these are the areas that college coaches will see, and ultimately over time, and this is progress, or really what that would be is, so that's time, and that's development. What college coaches will want to see is up and to the right, guys. That's all that matters, is they want to see that development. So that's where a lot of parents will come to me, hey, when's the right time to start getting resources to help with the recruiting process and to get seen from college coaches? It's never going to be 6 months from today. It's never going to be a year from today, especially if your son's an 8th grader or older. It's never going to also be really even tomorrow. If you have that mindset of wanting to chase a dream and go after it and go all in, it really was 6 months ago. And that's where I've been able to learn from some of the best teammates that I've had, you know, the Yadier Molinas, the Fernando Tatises, the Manny Machados, the Juan Sotos, the guys that I've been able to rub shoulders with throughout my 7-year professional career. Those guys do not wait for the perfect time to chase their dreams. So why are you? Now, if you want to learn the 5 things I wish I knew back when I was a high school baseball player, watch this full video on the screen right now.